Shalom, this is a min Parasha of Mira Neshama, Parasha de Vayera. Vayera means and he saw, because the Parasha opens on this episode where Abraham is sitting at the entrance of his tent and he sees three visitors coming towards him and he runs towards him. And Parashat Vayera is very much a parasha about vision, about what we see, but also about what we look. And the consequences of vision. Sometimes what we see is something that is providential, something that saves us, and sometimes what we see is something that's going to be difficult and hurtful, right? So we have episodes like this, contrasting episodes of the consequences of vision. For instance, when Lot welcomes visitors in Sodom, and the inhabitants of the city see the visitors and then they want to be intimate with them. This is what vision can do. Sometimes it can cause lust and desire, and it can cause people to have temptations to do things maybe they shouldn't be doing. And then there are two episodes in this parasha that are really about when you see something that is going to save you, miracles. So we have the episode when Agar, the maidservant of Abraham and Sarah, is sent away by Abraham with her son Ishmael. And she doesn't want to see her son dying, so she steps away, and because she says, I don't want to see the boy dying. But at this very moment, there is a kind of miracle that Hashem kind of opens her eyes, and she suddenly sees a source of water that's going to save their lives. And so it's very interesting because there's this whole contrast between what she doesn't want to look at and then what she sees. And this is where we see the difference between looking and seeing. Seeing, you don't necessarily choose what you see. And sometimes you see beautiful things, and sometimes also you see traumatic things. But looking is a choice. Looking is a choice. And so in this instance, we have someone who makes the choice of not looking, who refuses to look at her reality or at something she fears in the near future. And then suddenly she's being given the gift of seeing something providential, right? And this gift of seeing something miraculous that's going to save us, we have the same instance at the very end of the parasha, in the episode of the Akedat Yitzchak, of the almost sacrifice of Yitzchak, when Abraham is about to sacrifice his son, and suddenly he hears a voice saying, don't touch the boy, and then he sees, out of the blue, he sees a ram who is going to become the sacrifice. So we have two instances here of something we see suddenly that's going to save us. But what I want to focus on this week is in the contrast between two ways of looking, or rather the relationship we have with looking, because sometimes we refuse to look at something maybe we should be looking at, things we fear, we don't want to look at it, it's called denial. And sometimes there are things we should not be looking at, but the temptation to look at them is too strong. This is why I want to contrast here Agar, the character of Agar, and the character of the wife of Lot. Because Agar, as I just said, Agar refuses to look at what she fears may happen, so she doesn't want to look at her son. But when Lot and his wife are being saved from Sodom, and they're walking away from Sodom in haste, and there's this very, very short pasuk that says about the wife of Lot, "Vatabet ishto mecharav," and his wife looked behind him, "Vehiyi netziv melach," and she became a pillar of salt. And so in her case, the consequence of looking is that she became frozen, crystallized, and dead in a way. She disappeared from the world of living, which is kind of a flow moving forward, right? She becomes stuck in time. And I can really relate to this, truth is, and I think there is a deep human truth in this, unfortunately, a deep human temptation that we all have of looking backwards, looking back, right? And this is the definition of trauma. It's the fact that trauma stops time. Time stops with trauma. And you can have, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 50 years passing by, but time has stayed there, stuck in this moment that you keep looking at, looking behind, and you stay there, you just stay there. That's the definition of trauma, and you can't move forward somehow. That's a deep human temptation, and that's one of the major sources of human unhappiness. The fact that either we are stuck looking forward, we're stuck looking backward all the time, or we're looking to the future, but to things we fear but that don't exist, right? So being stuck looking at the past and looking at the future, but not being in the present. And so the deep wisdom and that I see in this parasha and the kavanah I keep in this parasha is, may we have the courage to be here and to look at what we're supposed to be looking, to know when to not look backwards and to know when to look forward. This was the mini parasha of Mira Neshama. Shabbat Shalom.